Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to day 651. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Valerie Lyons. I'm a career healer, a women igniter, and a power networker, and I'm so thrilled to be here this morning to welcome you to our presentation conversation, Creating Your Joy-Driven Life, Part 2. Welcome, 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 everybody. So happy that you're here. And if you're present, and if you're coming, can you please have pen and paper and an open mind and an open heart. So excited to be here today. We're here on Thursday for Part 1, back today on Sunday for Part 2. And just thrilled to be a part of this wonderful, wonderful conversation. We had such a rich conversation last Thursday, and I really look forward to what shows up today. Again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Wake up. I'm waking up. I'm woke up, and I'm happy to see or hear or know or feel your presence today for Part 2 of Creating Your Joy-Driven Life. I'm really thrilled you're here. Excited to be here, blessed to be here, grateful to be here, to welcome you to this morning's conversation, presentation, Creating Your Joy-Driven Life. I look forward to hearing what everyone has to say. Please have a pen and paper and just bring your presence and your willingness to share, because we're gonna have a great time. So welcome, welcome, welcome all. Hey, Zoom family, I see you. Welcome, welcome this morning. So happy to see many of you who were here on Thursday back for Part 2 of Creating Your Joy-Driven Life. Please have paper and pen. Bring your open heart and your open mind, because we're gonna have a great, great conversation. It's Valerie Lyons, once again, back for Part 2. A career healer, power networker, woman empowerment igniter, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with all of you. I see you, Adam. Good morning.
Good morning, Valerie. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing wonderful, wonderful. How are you?
Every day is a good day. As you can see, I'm working out this morning.
Oh boy, good for you, Adam. And I'm Bola, I know you're present. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to today's conversation presentation. Really looking forward to it and excited to be here. Hi, Ebola. I see you. Yes, welcome to today's conversation. Welcome, Facebook family. Those who are present, grateful that you're here with us this morning. Look forward to hearing from you and your feedback and your contribution. And welcome to those on Zoom who are popping on. I see you, Andrea. Welcome. Good morning.
Great morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Encouraging everybody to have a pen and paper, open mind, open heart. Really look forward to today's conversation. Thrilled to be here, grateful to be alive. Don't take it for granted. Yes, I'm really looking forward to today and what we have to offer to one another, how we will encourage each other and support each other as we are committed to creating our joy-driven life. So welcome, welcome, welcome everybody to today's conversation. Very, very happy and very excited to be here. And know that today will be as powerful as Thursday was. I'm really looking forward to this Part 2 of the conversation. Welcome.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing. We're dealing. We're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching. We're moving. Together, together, we're learning. Discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading. Connecting. Transforming. Together, together.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our part 2 conversation around creating your joy-driven life. Many of you were here for part 1. Part 1, we shared what brings us joy. We also talked about where joy is present in our lives and where it's missing. And today, what we're going to focus on is our authenticity, exploring what is it that makes us authentic? So what is it that have us be our authentic self? We're also going to talk about how self-love feeds our authenticity. And we're going to talk about wisdom and how we can use our wisdom to elevate our lives. So those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. So before we move to our first part of our conversation, I want to presence us once again to what brings us joy. What brings us joy? And I'm going to start in the share. What brings us joy? What brings me joy is being in empowered environments with like-minded people. I find it very nurturing and it's an uplifting. And I'm committed to continuing to seek those kinds of people, groups, organizations that are uplifting, where I feel like, where I know I'm making a contribution, and I also feel like I'm receiving that contribution. So I wanted to just ask if anyone wants to share, what brings you joy?
So I was mentioning this last time, but having more flexibility in my schedule, since transitioning out of more of a full-time role and being able to immerse myself into different projects now that I'm consulting. So there's like different things that bring me joy throughout the day. I'm not just focusing on one particular um, field of work. 2 hours I'm doing charter school work, the next 2 I'm doing health and wellness, the next 2 I'm doing something else, and they all feed into the things that I love and fill me up with joy that way. And like I mentioned on Thursday, being in an environment that makes me feel productive, such as Starbucks, is very helpful now that I do work from home. So I don't have to sit in the house the whole time, and I can see other people, but not have to talk to them. Also, it's just surrounding myself with that energy. So that brings me joy.
That's great. Thanks, Chantel. And what I heard you in your share is you talked about flexibility and you talked about diversity.
Yes.
And I'm like that too. I like to mix it up.
Yes.
Yes, that brings me joy to be able to have different experiences, use different parts of my brain.
Right, exactly.
And also just the aspect of creativity, being creative, brings me joy. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Adam says, what brings me joy is putting myself first in terms of internal self-care, in terms of drinking at least 128 ounces of water per day, taking sea moss gels and moringa and black seed living bitters liquid supplement, and working out. I think he's at the gym now, right, Adam?
Adam's at the gym.
Right on, Chantel.
All right, you want to go?
Yes.
Background too loud, or do you want to share?
Who, me?
Yeah, do you want to share? Want to share what you? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I just want to share that what brings me joy is me putting myself first in terms of my health, because without that, then I can't, please everybody else if I'm not putting myself first. And I believe that's important because I believe internal self-care is very paramount for my development and for my happiness at the end of the day, in terms of appreciating nature and whatnot. And I'm complete.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Adam. That
You're
is
welcome.
so key. The putting ourselves first, which is not easy for some of us, and particularly if you have other people in your life, children, elders, that you're caring for, your job. Putting ourselves first is so important, and it definitely it has us just focus on how, because oftentimes we're committed to others, but putting ourselves first has us focus on how we're going to take care of others, right? By taking care of ourselves. So thank you for that. It's always a great reminder. And I admire you, Adam, for your commitment to your health. Because I heard you talking about water, which I'm trying to drink more water myself and going to the gym. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything to share?
Yes, Jazzy said, helping others helps me. It is healing for me to be sure that others are well. Awesome. Jackie, you want to, Jackie, sorry, Jazzy, do you want to come off and elaborate a little bit more?
Excuse the early morning voice.
Sounds good.
And look, that's why I'm not on tonight.
That's okay.
But it's very relaxing and cathartic for me to make sure that others are well, whether it's just like in their eating, in their meditation, like teaching them how to meditate and get into themselves, or just how to be well altogether. I really, really enjoy that a lot because I enjoy it for myself. So I always try to get others into that space of learning how to do that, because especially a lot of people I know within my family and my loved ones, many aren't into that. So I'm really trying to get them to get there where they understand that the whole body is everything. Your mind, how you eat and take care of yourself, even if it's just a stretching, like yoga, something, like to get in there and make things. I used to be an avid workout person. I don't have the same time anymore, but I do try to get at least some sort of stretching, yoga, meditation in at some point. And if I miss it, I feel it. So I really try my best to try to get it in when I can.
It's great. It's really, really great. Your commitment to health and wellness, and your commitment to support other people in their health and wellness journey is powerful, and I hear that brings you joy. And what I also hear and understand, that being of service for many of us brings us joy. And what's great about being of service is that the universe is recognizing that gracious, supportive energy, loving energy that we're offering, and that energy comes right back to us, right? So we don't necessarily give to get, but it's happening anyway. The thing about being of service that we want to also be mindful of is when because sometimes this happens for many of us who are want to give and support. We just want to be mindful of when we're overextended. That's the thing we need to be mindful of, when you're overextended. And then there's the call for you to go back to taking care of yourself and ensuring your self-care so that you can support others. But thank you so much, Jazzy, and I commend you for what you do in the world.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no more shares, we can go to our first slide. Grow through what we go through. When we got together on Thursday, when we spoke about creating your joy-driven life, part 1, we talked about one of the ways to source joy, and that is inside of reframing mistakes, reframing problems. And in thinking about that, this quote came to mind. Grow through what we go through, right? So I wanted to just hear from anyone who'd like to share, or if that resonates with you. Grow through what we go through. Does that resonate with anybody?
I love it. I just took a screenshot.
Yes.
It makes sense, because how do you grow from what you've gone through? Instead of just suffering, you learn from it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How do it makes a whole lot of sense. I'm so upset that y'all have me tearing up at 7 o'clock in the morning.
You know what?
Here, I'm so glad you came and took the invitation last week. So this is what it's supposed to be.
Yes. And you know what's great about tearing up at 7 a.m. in the morning? You are present. That's one of the things about being authentic, being present to your feelings. And at 7 a.m., oftentimes, we don't have all the chatter going on in our head. It's too early for the chatter. Chatter shows up a little later in the day.
Right. I'm in the bathroom, everybody's sleeping.
Yes, in the quiet, that we can be present to ourselves. That's a beautiful thing. And I'm so happy you're here. Even with your sleepy voice, you're loud and clear. You're loud and clear. And I'm so happy that you're here. And I don't know if you want to share any particular experience that you may have that has you, because something that triggered something, that quote triggered something. Are you comfortable sharing anything that you've gone through but grown through it?
Oh my gosh. Ooh, it's a lot happening lately. So I think everything is just kind of like welling up all at once.
You can, well, if you're near a chat, you can use that if you're not comfortable sharing, but I got that it meant something. I got that it hit you. And that's what's up.
It's
Mhm.
well, I mean, one of the things, I'm going through like a separation right now. So that's a big deal for me to be breaking up my family, so, and I have to sit and think really hard, and then that made sense. You grow through what you go through.
Yes.
So yeah.
Well, thoughts and prayers with you. I certainly have experienced that myself. Even though each person's situation is unique to them, it can be very painful. And it does make a difference for us to consider, what are we learning through this? How are we growing through this? It doesn't necessarily mean that we don't feel, but it has us put our experience in a particular context and perspective that does create healing in time. So I definitely will keep you and your situation in prayer, because I know that this is a challenging, and that may be an understatement, challenging time. But thank you for sharing, Jazzy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else want to comment or share before we move forward?
This is Abimbola. Peace. I would like to, let me see if I can come on camera. I have a new iPad, so I'm trying to.
Okay. There you
So,
go.
so that statement reminds me of another statement, and I think maybe Iyanla Van Zant said it. But every lesson is a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to, just in terms of piggybacking on what you and the other sister just said about separation, but Dr. Betty Shabazz would say, find the good and celebrate it.
Mm.
So concentrate on and find good things and learn lessons and grow in your evolution in life. And that's what I do. So rather than just meditating on, oh, I'm sad about this and that, reminisce on the good things and move on and put that in your bank and grow as a person. And I'm complete.
Thank you so much. It really,
Mhm.
you know, what you're speaking to, which is so powerful. What do we put our attention on? The things that we place our attention on are the things that expand. That's just the way it is. And again, we're not robots. So we may feel, not like you don't feel, but what am I putting my attention on is what is going to show up powerfully in my life. And so thank you for that. Just looking for the good, looking for the growth, looking for the lesson, looking for the blessing. That's what's up. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's all about mindset.
Absolutely. And Rachel has her hand raised.
Oh yes, Rachel.
Come off, Rachel.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, so what came up for me was I was single. I'm not single any longer, but I was single for a while coming out of a relationship. And what I had learned from that was who you really are when you're single is who you really are.
Mm.
Right. So if you're a hot mess when you're single, you're a hot mess when you're in a relationship. So I had to see my hot mess moments and grow through that, right? Because I can't blame anybody's energy but my own at that point. So it was a difficult time. So when I think about grow through what you grow through is like not to I had to stop playing the victim role for me. Like why me? You know, and I had to really sit back and sit with who I was. And who I was, I needed a lot of work to do. So I started working on me and just focusing on me and who I wanted to show up with and who I wanted to wake up to. Because if I didn't want to wake up, like, do you want to wake up to who you are?
Right.
Somebody that complains all the time, that's constantly like dragging ass. Like, no, you don't. I didn't want to wake up to that. And my reflection, I was waking up to at one point. So, yeah, just grow through what you go through is like not playing the victim role and really sitting with yourself and dissecting who you are, not who everybody else is. And I'm
Thank you.
complete.
Thank you for that, Rachel. Because what I want to add to that is it takes something to look at yourself. You know, the ability to have a heightened or any kind of self-awareness is a gift. It's a gift not to be taken for granted because it's easy to look outside of ourselves and blame and point a finger. And it's not even, Rachel, I will say, not even blaming our daggone selves. It's like acknowledging who we are with no blame, acknowledging who we are, but taking responsibility. Responsibility, not blame. That's it. Taking responsibility, not blame. But I just want to add that to do that, it takes something to go inward. And not everybody has that gift. So God bless you that you have it, that you have the willingness to take a look and say, you know what? What's going on with me? Forget what's happening with them. They may have their own issues because everybody does. What's happening with me? And am I willing to do the work to get to the source of why I may be responding or reacting a particular way? That's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. And then let's move into a relationship and work it out together. But at least you're feeling a little short about who you are. You know, you're about your reactions. And you're realizing that maybe I can shift this reaction. What's up with that? And we talked, part one, we talked about seeking therapy, coaching, counseling, community, because we talked about this community as being a therapeutic community. It's a therapeutic community, actually, right? There's a thing in substance abuse that's called therapeutic communities. In this sense, this is a therapeutic community where we can get ourselves inside of the conversations that we have. So thank you so much for that, Rachel. You're the one that had me put that quote up, by the way, Rachel, that you go through what you go, you grow through what you go through based on something that you shared during part one.
Yeah.
Okay, any other shares before we move on?
I think that we are good.
Okay.
That's to say that we grow through what we go through, and it's supposed to bring out a different version of you. And so that's something that I like to focus on when going through something, like God wants a different version of me to come out of this. And I wouldn't come out of this a different person if I didn't have to solve this a different way or be innovative in a certain way. Just adulting overall, you have to figure it out. And the way you do that is by showing up as different versions of yourself and breaking out of your shells and forcing yourself to do better.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that reminds me of what we talked about too, in terms of your higher self. When you talk
Mhm,
about different versions of yourself, that's still who you are.
mhm,
That version of yourself is your highest. I would attest that's your highest self. That shows up inside of your growth, inside of the wisdom that you're learning along the way, inside of learning from those lessons, that it speaks to your higher self. And
mhm.
it's a beautiful thing. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Okay, so we can move on, and this is the question, right? What does it mean to be your authentic self? And maybe we can hear a couple of people just sharing, what does it mean? I don't know if anything's happening on Facebook folks, if you're around, we'd love to hear from you as well. What does it mean to be your authentic self?
All right, Rachel, come on.
Yeah, I'll just something that I struggled with for a long time was showing up as my authentic self. And that's even like which I'm learning now still, being in my relationship and not like forgetting about who I am, right? Having that healthy balance of being hanging out with my, seeing my friends, going to brunch, following my dreams still, things that I would normally just overlook once I got either into another relationship or if I was consumed with just doing other things. So just being myself and being true to who I am and not letting anything sway, where I'm at in my life. And
That's
I'm
it.
complete.
Yes, thank you for that, beautiful baby. Thank you for that, Rachel.
My grandbaby.
Oh, look at you, man, baby. All right. Being true to ourselves, not losing ourselves in people, places, or things, right? Still holding on to our dreams, right? Tapping into that which is internal, those things that are internal. And we're going to talk about this in a minute, the difference between internal and external influences. So thank you for that, Rachel. Anyone else would like to share before we move on? Okay, so let's talk about.
Peace and blessing, family. Good morning.
Oh, hi, is that Teresa?
Yes, ma'am. Sound like a real man this morning.
Oh, I knew it was you, Teresa Scott.
Yes. Hi. What I've learned about being my authentic self is that she is a wonderful person. And when I just see myself in all the glory of what the spirit, has to offer me, then it changes my perspective of how I see myself, especially with that loving on myself. That's being my authentic self because I didn't love myself and I know I didn't. And I still struggle because sometimes things happen and instead of me fighting for myself, I'll just take it. And so that's the place where I'm working at right now. Because I had a situation that happened and I was just trying to give the person a chance, but it's like, how many chances do you continue on giving a person if it's not for your higher good? So, that's where I'm at today. It's like just, walking in the grace of God and the goodness of, being here, but also just really focus on like what's good for me. So that's being my authentic self and I'm complete.
Thank you, Teresa, because what you spoke to, which we're going to talk about it a little bit more, a little later on, is self-love. Self-love has us feeding our authenticity and choosing us, like choosing you, right? Has us focus on what's in our best interest, not what's in someone else's best interest, what's in our best interest. So you spoke a lot to really the inward going inward as internal influences versus external influences. That's something to keep in mind. So thank you for that, Teresa. Anyone else would like to share?
Yes, Jazzy?
Yeah, what Ms. Teresa said was like really key. It hit a lot of places for me where to giving the chances. And I always think that I'm being a better person by understanding the person. Like, okay, I know where this comes from. So that's why, I know they're not this person and they are this person because of what happened to them in their past. And so I always try to look at the person as a whole and figure that's why I am accepting of what is happening with them. And I do think that many people still do deserve that grace. But it doesn't serve me, I've noticed, when they don't understand it and you become the person that just kind of deals with whatever they're going through. But it doesn't serve you to deal with what they're going through if they're not even trying to get in touch with that.
Jazzy,
So,
jazzy.
yeah,
Ah,
I've definitely learned that.
Yeah, sugar, you got it right there. You said the right word.
I got it. This speaks to what you just shared, Jazzy. One of the definitions I heard of what love is, this is a definition that I heard that really resonated with me, is accepting people for who they are and who they're not, right? So not trying to fix folk, right? Accepting people for who they are and who they are not. Love. What I recently got, Jazzy, is that you can love somebody and still have them not be for you. That's
Right.
the thing. I just got that distinction.
Right.
Recently, I just got
That part.
Okay, figured I'd drop it like it's hot because it is. That's why I was
that
like,
part, yes.
it is hard. You can love someone and still acknowledge they're not for you. So that is what helps you draw that boundary, that healthy boundary, because we got to protect ourselves. We got to protect our energy. We can't be letting everyone and anyone roll up on us in an intimate way. We can have associates and deal with people at a distance, but the people who are in our intimate circles, we really have to be mindful. Of who they are and whether their energy is aligned with our energy.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that reminder, Jazzy. Yes. Yeah. All right. Anyone else have a share before we move on?
So my question is, when you have people in your intimate circles, and you're saying that their energy has to be aligned with my energy, do I stay away? I look terrible. Why do I have to? Do I have to stay away or be intentional about being around those people?
Okay, so
how does one do that?
Okay, so first of all, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Let's start there. No have-tos, Veronica. Mm-hmm. What we're saying is, and it's a process. Yeah. It is not something that typically happens overnight, because typically those people who are around us, whose energy may not match ours, are not horrible people. They're not bad people. There are things about them that we find intriguing, loving, endearing. We see the other side to them, right? Which is why we're connected to them, typically, right? But sometimes we're with these people because we're trying to save them, right? We're trying to fix them. Sometimes there's a need that we have, right? A void that we experience that is filled by having that particular person. So it's a process of understanding, and it takes something. And we talked about this part one, being still and being honest with yourself. the day that the moment that I realized, and I was married for 20 some odd years, and this man he was brilliant, amazing, funny as all hell, great guy. It got to a point where the marriage didn't work. The moment I said, the moment I asked myself this question, how long am I going to live like this? Was the moment I said, I don't want to live like this for the rest of my life. But it took some years. I'm not saying it has to take a long time. It took me a while, right? But it's being honest with yourself. What kind of life do you want? Do you want a life of freedom, peace, joy? You know, do you want to feel like you're suffering? Do you want to feel like you're being dragged down and not empowered? Right? It takes a minute for us to determine who are we and what do we deserve? We talked about last time. Feelings of not being worthy have us stay in situations and relationships that don't work. So these are the things that we want to examine. We want to take a minute. Rachel talked about a personal inventory. We want to take a minute and self-assess. Who are we? What kind of life do we want? What are we creating for ourselves? We want to be still. And then we want to ask Spirit, please guide me. And oftentimes, we know exactly what to do. And what there is to ask for is the strength and the courage to take the necessary steps so that we can be joyful.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Oh, life is a process. Anyone else would like to share? That's why these conversations are rich when we're willing.
We have Adam.
Adam.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I just want to say that when we go through the process of identifying what we want for ourselves, sometimes most of us get stuck because we're looking for approval for the world or try to please people. So I believe it's hard for people to be themselves without seeking approval because of the dissatisfaction that may come along with not getting any approval from most people. And I just want to add to that. I just want to say that when you try to look for approval or try to please other people instead of putting yourself first in developing an identity, you start creating dissatisfaction and a lot of stress within yourself for no reason. And I just want to add that to the conversation. I'm complete.
Thank you so much, Adam, because again, we're looking at internal influences and external influences. We're socialized to seek approval. We're getting evaluated when we're young in school. We're getting report cards. We certainly get commended when we do well. We're on jobs where we seek approval through our work performance on job performances. We are socialized to seek approval. And it takes something to go inward and really determine for ourselves what is it that we want. Now, getting approval is all good, but you know what? Not everybody's going to approve with everything you want to do now. See, that's the problem. You're going to make a turn that people don't get. And that's when it's problematic, when we're too dependent on approval. So you're absolutely right, Adam. It's a wonderful thing for us to remind ourselves to trust ourselves. How about that? Can we trust ourselves that we know best? We can still listen for other people's thoughts and ideas, but if we're really in tune with who we are and trusting ourselves, we will take other people's ideas and their comments and we'll put it into a particular context that works for us. There is no one right way, only the way that works for you. And that takes something to take on. So thank you so much for that, Adam.
You're welcome, Valerie.
All right.
That was beautiful.
Any other shares before we move on?
Yes, we have Teresa.
Okay, Teresa.
Yeah, I had to come on the mirror for this one. I like on the camera. I like what you just said just now is that.
You're muted, huh?
Somebody else muted me.
Okay.
Everything that we are in is about approval. And sometimes it is hard to separate the approval that's, that's regular, but then the approval that, that overextends itself. And a lot of times we beat ourselves up because we are doing that. So I'm just grateful that I woke up one time because I thought I had missed it. And I was so exhausted. And I was like, oh my God, I missed it. And I was like, oh wow, it's not, I didn't miss it. So I'm grateful for the universe that have me here, because this is a conversation that we need, because sometimes the things that we do, we beat ourselves up because it's normal, and we forget that we're human beings that do normal things. And so I just like to encourage us not to beat ourselves up when we find ourselves in healing spots, and just being healed, and words are coming through to bring us to a whole nother level. So thank you for what you said, because approval is part of the world system. But like you said, like, what do we want? And that's so important. And I just wanted to tell you, thank you for saying that word, and I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you so much, Teresa. Thank you for that. Okay. Any other shares before we move on? Okay, so we're going to talk about being our authentic self, and we're moving right up into the first thing that we talked about, taking a personal inventory, which is what we've really been talking about, right? Really taking a look. Who or what in our circle, in our lives, who or what is working and who or what is not? Who are the people that we, and the groups and the organizations that support us, that are empowering, or who are the individuals who are in our lives? Are they like-minded? Are they uplifting us? Are they encouraging us? Do they have that energy where we're uplifting and encouraging them? Or do we feel like we're being dragged down by folk? And that's what we've been talking about. Not blaming people. Nobody's wrong here. It's not about right or wrong. It's about us being honest with ourselves in terms of the kind of energy, the kind of the types of individuals, the types of groups that we want to associate ourselves with. So that we've been talking about that, taking a personal inventory, and it's very important to do that on an ongoing basis, to check in how you're feeling around certain folks or certain people, certain groups. This happens often in work where we don't check in. We're so committed, and we need to make some money, right? We need to work, right? But the daggone job is draining us. It's killing us. It's sucking our soul. And some of us feel stuck, that we have no other choice but to stay on this job that's not serving us well. And for some of us, we grew up with the idea, you don't leave a job unless you have a job. Now, it takes something to leave a job without having a job. And sometimes some of us can't afford to do that. That's true. But you know what I say? You can't put a price tag on your peace of mind. Sometimes we got to go. Sometimes we got to go. And oftentimes, universe will work it out. It's a leap of faith to leave a job. I remember leaving a job. It was killing me. And I didn't have a job, but you know what I knew? I knew I had some skills. I knew how to network, and I networked my off, and I got something. I actually created an opportunity for myself with someone who had a particular agency and needed someone with my skill set. I believe it or not, a job was created for me, right? Worked there part-time, taught part-time, was hustling, until I got another gig, a full-time job, and then I started my business, started building. But you know what I'm saying? We gotta take care of ourselves. We gotta take a personal inventory. You don't want to numb out on life. And that will happen when you're around situations or with people who are disempowering or bringing you down. All of a sudden, you're like the walking dead. You're not even clear about who you are, how you feel. You're just going through the motions like a robot, right? So that is something I just wanted to share. I don't know if anything I've shared resonates with anybody, but personal inventory is where you start.
Absolutely. And Jackie on Facebook said, check in on every area of your life, relationships, career, family, etc. Sometimes we have to jump.
Absolutely. And that's exactly right, Jackie. There's so many areas of our lives that we can explore and see how are we showing up in this area, or what's showing up in this area, and then make some shifts when necessary. So thank you for that, Jackie. Anything else? Thank you, Facebook.
Yeah, let's hear from Rachel.
Yeah, I started to learn how to identify when I was being taken for granted, how my energy shifted, if that makes sense. Like if you're around, when I was around a person, if my energy shifted towards like feeling like overwhelmed, just hearing the same old, it is draining, like you were saying, I was able to be like, okay, this isn't for me. This isn't, and I'm not expecting to give and get. That's not what it is, but I do need reciprocity on a level of peace. If you can't give me what I'm giving you in one way, give me peace back. Give me knowledge, wisdom, something. But I don't want reciprocity to be gossip or things that don't feed my spirit. So things that just took from me, that was like, I'm tired of hearing the same old stuff. There's really no growth around this table. This table is no longer for me. And I'm complete.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Being honest with yourself, not making people wrong, but being honest with what feeds us. What feeds you? We deserve to be alive and to feel alive. And it's amazing how we can feel kind of down and just not alive when we're around energy that doesn't feed us. So really tapping into our spirit source soul to really ask ourselves, how are we experiencing this situation, and being true to ourselves. Sometimes we're worried about hurting people's feelings. Some of us are worried about hurting people's feelings. Listen, folks will get over it, and because when you say what you say, you're going to say it in the way you say it, and that's it. Some of us will choose certain language, others will be just direct. But the bottom line is that we are, and I'm going to say this because it's true, I feel it's true sometimes, fighting for our lives. We're fighting for our lives that we sometimes take for granted. It takes something to fight for your life. Oh, thank you, Rachel.
Yes.
No, I love that, because there's something that I always say, like, my life's not a game. You might think it is, but my life is not a game. And I want to live it to the fullest. And I want to be able to be peace. I don't want to live in fighting, arguing. Like, it's just, that's not the energy this is my life. And we're getting older, not younger. So it's just like, can I just live? So I get you, like, fighting for my life, not your life, but my life.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Rachel.
Yeah. And Rachel, you said something so important. I wrote it down. How does this change my mood, or this energy? How is it making me feel? So tapping into yourself in that moment and like, or, benchmark yourself. Like, am I feeling off here? Something, listen to your body, listen to feel the stomach flips and anything that your body's trying to tell you, and lean into that and evaluate, maybe this isn't where I belong anymore.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Trusting yourself, listening to your body.
Yes.
Listen to your spirit.
Yes.
Yes.
Our spirit tells us a whole lot.
Right.
I'm honing that skill myself. Really listening, how about this? And following.
That part. I was just gonna say, because it talks all the time.
I want to be obedient.
Right.
For once. No, I shouldn't say that for once, but I have been ignoring, and I want to take that on as following. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much. Anything else before we move on?
Cricket.
Okay. So taking personal inventory. We also talked about being present, right? And Jazzy, you brought that, you initiated that conversation. Being present, being aware of what's happening for yourself, right? Being present to your feelings, being present to your thoughts, right? Tuning in, because there's a lot of chatter and there's a lot of I have to's or I should, right? But what is your heart saying? You know, what is it that your spirit is telling you, right? And sometimes we're going through different experiences, right? I mentioned last time I'm also going through a transition in a relationship, right? I choose, and you know, it's interesting, during the pandemic, I stopped drinking alcohol because I started seeing that I was drinking every day, still holding it down. Didn't think I had a problem per se. Although when you tell people you stop drinking, like, what happened, Val? What happened was I started listening to my spirit and said, Val, you're drinking too daggone much. How about that? I was getting up feeling that the alcohol was still in my body and I didn't like it, right? But I also recognized that drinking has us get away from things. I'm not, alcohol, I'm not demonizing alcohol. That has nothing to do with it. Once again, it's us being honest with ourselves. People still ask me, Val, do you think you might drink again? I don't know, I might. But for now, I'm not. I want to be present to what I'm dealing with. I don't want to use alcohol as an escape. And that's what I was doing, right? Wanting to be present with what we're experiencing so we can manage what we're experiencing, because what we're experiencing is not necessarily going to go away, right? With the use of a substance. It will just be put on hold for a hot minute, right? So this idea of being present, managing what we're managing. We also talked about be intentional. Whatever you're managing, there's a lesson, there's a blessing, there's something that you're growing through. Focusing on that, because that's really powerful to you know, as well, right? And that's what's going to feed us, and that's what's going to propel us and empower us, right? So being present. Anyone else would like to share about that?
Yes, we have Teresa.
Peace and blessing. What I noticed for myself is that I'm being present was that during the pandemic, it was like a lot of interaction with people, sometime more than before. But now that everybody's, you know, back to normal, the interaction, you know, is different. So I find myself missing people more, because I guess too, because they're going out more, whatever. But I just, sometimes I'm, you know, kind of saddened because of missing, you know, like speaking to people, stuff like that. So I have to watch myself that I don't overextend myself, you know, because just wanting, you know, to speak to someone. So that's something that I'm noticing about myself, is that sometimes I get, you know, like kind of, I get not no kind of, I do get down sometimes when I'm not able to reach out to some people that I normally was reaching out. But what I'm realizing is that that's what the universe is taking me. Then I'm accepting the place that, you know, that where I'm at. You know, it's like maybe the people that I once was, you know, communicating with is not what's needed for me. So, and that's challenging some days, but I'm adjusting. Like you said, when something comes, you just adjust, you know, you adjust to the situation. But for me, it has been challenging, you know, but I'm just grateful that I do have, you know, some places the way I'm, you know, still able, but that need, you know, that desire does get in, you know, does, you know, make me sad sometimes.
Sure.
And I'm complete.
You know, Teresa, what you're speaking to is it's a grieving process. When we have a loss of a relationship, a loss of a communication, there is a grieving process that we go through. And what's important for us to do is to be gentle and kind to ourselves, give ourselves grace through the process, and really get that there are people that are brought into our lives at a particular time in our lives for a particular reason, right? And some relationships will carry over. And even the relationships that people you're not in communication with now, you may be in communication with 2 weeks to 3 weeks from now. But that relationships are fluid. Relationships are fluid. They come and they go, and they get straight. Some get stronger, and they get weaker, and then you come back again. It's like an ebb and a flow with relationships. So I what I'm hearing is the need for us, or the opportunity for us, to just let relationships be what they be, and not get too fixed on what a relationship needs to be necessarily. You know, there's different types of relationships, and so there's certain commitments that you want in some and not so much in others. But to just, in terms of some of our friendships, to keep it open, keep it just a fluid kind of experience, And it gives people space to come and go. Because you know that people that you haven't talked to in a while, when you do, if you have a bond, when you do speak to them, it's like you never had the distance, because that's the relationship that is still a bond has been established. So yeah, new people come into your life all of a sudden. You know, since I joined this community, I've met so many. You were one, Teresa. You know, you're one of the new people in my life that I've met. You know, so just being open to the universe presenting people in your life at any given point in your life, beautiful, wonderful, empowering people can show up. I think it's a beautiful thing. It's miraculous.
No, it is, Miss Valerie. I agree with you. I've just learned to look at a different perspective. Sometimes you be stuck in one way of looking at things, but when you change your perspective, then it doesn't look as challenging as it really is. It really isn't challenging when you change your perspective. Let me say that, but I'm learning, I'm growing, to a different perspective, and I'm thankful.
Yes, thank you, Teresa. We're all growing, whether we want to or not, whether we're present to it or not. We're all growing. So that's great. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Yeah, Rachel, you still want to share?
Yeah, sure. So what came up for me when you said present and then you said not drinking alcohol, it's funny because being present for me is feeling every emotion without stepping away from it, whether it's going out constantly, whether it's just trying to get away from the reality of what you're dealing with. For me, it's like just staying in the emotion, being still, sitting with self. That for me personally, that's what being present is, and actually feeling what I'm feeling so I can allow myself to feel it and then move forward and become stronger than I was if I was walking away or stepping away or even having a conversation amongst a bunch of people to get different opinions and thoughts. To me, is not being present in my feelings because I'm letting outside information and noise and opinions change the way I may think. So I just want to sit with myself when I'm being present.
Thank you. Thank you for that. What you spoke to here is this idea of being present to things that even are challenging, having the ability, courage, determination to work through it and get to the other side, which is a beautiful thing. And knowing there's another side, there's the other side to whatever you're experiencing, has us get our resilience, and that's a powerful thing to get, because all of us, not for nothing, who are in this present right up in here, there's no doubt in my mind that every single one of us is resilient for the mere fact that we are here talking to each other inside of a pandemic. There's some resilience. There's some resilience. Okay, well, thank you for that, Rachel. All right, anything else? Anyone else would like to share before we move on?
All right, Val. So it's 7:55. You want to say anything to our guests?
Oh my goodness, it's 7:55 already.
56 now.
Oh my, okay, well.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I think we're gonna have a part 3, for goodness sakes. We're gonna continue. We will continue. For those who are able to stay, please do. We have more to share. Appreciate your presence. Want to tell you, should I share my giveaway for those that may have to leave?
Yes, please.
Yes, so if you have to leave, please know that your presence is just so appreciated. And my offer is this: if you email me at valjlyons@gmail.com, I'm going to send you 2 of my poems that I wrote that I believe that will uplift and empower you. So if you email me at valjlyons@gmail.com, I'll be so happy to share 2 of my poems that I wrote that I believe will make a difference for you. So thank you for those who have to leave. Thank you for being here. And I hope that most can stay, because we still have a lot to discuss. So thank you so much.
All right, let's go back.
Okay. So we talked about taking your personal inventory, the power of being present. Now let's talk about building your support team. This is important. Some of us want to do life alone. That does not work. It doesn't work because life, there's so many, as we all know, there's so many twists, there's so many turns, there's so many ups. It's lonely to deal with life alone. How about that? And the power of creating a support team, people that will be there for you, that you'll be there for, that can assist you in many different ways in your life, whether it's mentoring, or just an ear to listen. Some folks in our lives just know how to get, they're resourceful and know how to get information. I know, Teresa, you talked about being very resourceful, so this idea of building a support team of folks who are like-minded, energized, interested. Rachel talked about the reciprocal relationship. There's a give, there's a get, we give and we get back. So, I just wanted to share that as another way that we can tap into our authenticity. Last time I mentioned this phrase or term, quote that I learned in this transformational program I belong to at Landmark, that we arise in the listening of others, which is why we want to be mindful of who we have in our circle, right? How we arise. Do we arise as powerful, able, capable, brilliant human beings, loving human beings, right? Is that how we arise in the circles that we show up in, right? So this idea of creating a support team, and WOO is a support community, and it's a team. It actually is a support team of wonderful, like-minded, joyful, energized, empowering people, right? And some of us have a number of teams in our lives, or groups or organizations that we're affiliated with that bring us that empower us and support us in how we live our lives. So I wanted to hear from anyone who is, who that resonates with, thoughts around building a support team in your life.
Yeah, maybe Valerie, you could tell us where to start, how to start building that team.
Sure. Okay, so it starts with a declaration.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with a thought. The thought is, I want to meet like-minded, loving people. Source, Spirit, God, lead me to these individuals and these groups. It starts with that. Then it starts with allowing that to happen, meaning I'm not resisting it. I'm giving up. I'm an introvert. You can be an introvert and still connect with people. But sometimes when people say they're introverts, that has them believe that they can't interact with other people, or that it's difficult to interact with other people. So the labels that we place on ourselves can get in the way. Introvert. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert, and we can connect in different ways, right? But it's allowing, it's just giving up any kind of label I have for myself, any kind of thoughts of not being worthy, any kind of thoughts that I don't know how. Just make the declaration. Universe says yes, and allow. And and starting small, right? You might want to ask people, right? I know when I meet individuals and I'm in groups like this, like WOO. So you started here, by the way. So this is in and of itself a support team. I am listening and I am looking for people that I can connect with personally. So it takes something to be vulnerable and reach out to individuals and say, you know what? I'd like to get to know you. I'd like to get to know you. Can we meet, either virtually, a phone call? Now folks are going out, meeting for coffee, meeting for a smoothie. I like to walk to Central Park. And I have actually had meetups, like friends, like, why don't we just take a walk in Central Park? So it's, does that help? Does that give folks an idea of where to start?
Catherine said yes.
Yes, it starts with a declaration.
Mhm. Yeah, and also the groups of, wherever you are now, I find myself for work, I have my work team where it's like we can vent, we can work together, we know what the job is like and we can relate. Whatever groups you're already in, make up a group within that as well to have those shared experiences with and to have those conversations because you understand what's going on in that particular group. And that's how you can build multiple teams as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. And it's really, it's taking a risk. For some of us, it may feel risky. But it's, you know what is, you ask yourself, what is life about? Life is about challenging yourself at times, doing things that are different than what you've been used to doing. I know that, being in this pandemic season had me thinking about not being on automatic pilot. I don't want to go back to what was prior to the pandemic. This thing called normal. I'd like for us to create what that looks like for ourselves. It doesn't have to look like it did in the past. So this idea of creating yourself newly, right? Creating yourself newly. I can show up differently now, maybe. Maybe I was reluctant to show up this way. Now I can show up, introduce myself to people where I was waiting, right? Waiting for people to come to me. Maybe I'll step to people now. I want to show up differently. It's a very empowering when we just try to stretch a little bit.
Absolutely. And acknowledge yourself when you do stretch and when you do reach out to that person and when you are vulnerable and saying, I want to get to know you. I want to go for that smoothie. Or, hey, I'm looking for work and, we know each other on this level, but I also want to share that I have experiences here and connect with people for different opportunities. You never know what will come out of that. And Jacqueline on Facebook said, some of us are doing like in solitary confinement. It's considered inhumane in the penal system. So why would we do that to ourselves?
Hello. Thank you, Jackie. Isn't that
And
something?
and she said also in listening to others, we get to know ourselves.
So true. That's how we get to, you get to hear different perspectives, different worldviews, and we get to think about ourselves inside of that. How do we show up? So absolutely. Thank you for that, Jackie.
Yes. Jazzy, you want to come up? Oh, go ahead, Valerie.
One other thing, just want to add before I forget.
Mm-hmm.
When we make requests, what's really helpful is to make requests with no attachments. So you might want to meet people, or you might want to, seek employment and you're doing your networking. The key is not being attached to whether they support you or not, because people don't have to do anything, right? But what you're really doing is you're working on the muscle of making the request. That's the gold right there. That's the juice. You're working so that it's not about whether they help you. It's about your standing inside of your commitment to make requests. And sure enough, eventually, folks will start to show up and support you. So I just wanted to really to add that.
It's very important because sometimes we're attached and then we take it personal.
Yes, it's
and
not.
That is hard.
Right? Either people are going to help you or they're not. And if for whatever reason, and guess what? I'm at the age, I don't try to figure stuff out. I just say, I keep it moving. You weren't there? Okay, fine. Move on. Move on. And one last thing about that I'd like to add. The difference between an accomplishment and a result, right? So the accomplishment is working the muscle of making requests. Wonderful, wonderful accomplishment. The result of getting that job may not happen immediately, but it will happen. But you're focusing on your accomplishments.
Absolutely. And just because they didn't help you with that doesn't mean that they don't want to support you ever again or in another way, or that they don't like you, any of that.
Yeah, don't
So
cross
it's
the
very
off the
important.
list.
Right, exactly. People take it personal and then that's it. All right. So we'll take Jazzy and then we can go into the next slide.
Okay.
I forgot what I was about to say. I had so much happening in my head. I wanted to speak on, the resources and the groups and stuff that you keep yourself around. I do very much agree with what Ms. Valerie said. I have like a lot of different groups and I am available in the healing way, like I said, the way I like to give. And then I do have my group. I usually have like the same group actually of long-term people in my life. And then I have the resourceful person that may say, oh, you have this going on and you need this. So here's that resource, and here's this and here's that. So I do have those people that can point me in the direction of, here's this number for this person, and they can help you with that situation. And I guess you just look for people in whatever ways. Yeah, you look for people, like a different group of people that can help you in those ways. I am that one person that, you can always depend on. If you have something health-wise, you have a baby, anything, I'm there, have always been. And then I have my girlfriend that says, you need an apartment, here's this number. You need, a discount on this, here is this number. You need help with food, here is this, so she's very good with that. And just pointing to whoever can do whatever. And the introvert part is hard, because I am very much an introvert. So it's so hard to, it's weird, because I can speak, obviously, and love to speak to people, but that initiation of stepping out the box is so hard to me, and I don't know why. It's something that I'm actually working on within myself to figure out why I'm that way. But it is a lot to kind of just step out and just talk and just be in the middle of everything and not want attention on me. But I want to be in that space to kind of take in the information and learn other people and see what's going on and connect, but not necessarily this person to step out in the middle and connect with everyone. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 thing.
Well, clearly you know how to connect, and how you connect, it from person to person, it will vary. There's no right way about connecting, right? The idea is that it makes a difference to connect, right? And that's what you're doing. You also talked about spreading the love, having many different people in your lives that can support you in a particular way, and opening up the opportunities to meet people who can support you, right? And I would just ask that rather than saying it's hard, you can say, you know what? If it's something that you're seeking, I seek to, be more comfortable with interacting with people. I seek to be more comfortable. That's all. Rather than saying it's hard, because when you say it's hard, it's done. Right? But when you say I'm seeking, and what, you still might be, not everybody, we're all different. I am the person that talks to strangers. I talk to people on the street, in the subway, in the grocery store, and my sister sometimes has to say, Valerie, can you get the heck over here? You know what I'm saying? So I'm the one that has to pull it back sometimes, right? And other people have to, it takes more to initiate, right? But it's all good. There's nothing wrong. We don't have to all be the same. It's just when we talked about earlier, being honest with who you are and what you want. That's all.
Yeah.
Accepting yourself for who you are and who you're not. That's all. You know what's best.
Yeah. And it's funny because although you're that person that speaks to everyone, you'll speak to me and then I'll just start talking to you like I knew you forever. So although I am that, I'm not the initiator, once you start talking, I'm there with you. So
I know, listen, I know your kind. It's like people say, she don't talk to nobody, Val. How's she talking to you? I know your kind, because you feel a sense of safety and you feel engaged. You're engaged. And you're willing.
Yeah. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And you said the exact words. She don't talk to nobody. Why she talking to you?
I know, that's so funny. Thank you so much. Oh boy. All right. I guess we should move on. Let's see. Okay,
And then we'll come back around to you, Teresa. Didn't forget about you.
So taking personal inventory, being present, building your support team, and speaking your truth. This is all, are you being your authentic self, right? Speaking your truth is part of what it means to be authentic. Now, some people believe, and I think to some extent, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. That's what I was raised to believe. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So you want to be mindful of your tone, but you know what? Sometimes it doesn't work to be mindful of your tone. How about that? You're speaking your truth. Sometimes it's going to come out a particular way, and it may not necessarily be received in a way that people like, right? But sometimes it's about speaking your truth, you know, with freedom, with ease, with assertiveness, right? So for those of us who find ourselves withholding and not speaking our truth because we're afraid of what other people, not afraid or fear what other people think or what people think about us, that people are not going to agree, you know, that is something that sometimes holds us back, right? But I'm a firm believer, and it takes a minute because there's what has to, in order for us to speak our truth, let me ask this question. In order for us to speak our truth, what has to be present for us? How does one get the ability to speak their truth?
This is Amelia. I liked earlier when you just mentioned that safe space. And speaking the truth, oftentimes, I know, speaking for myself, sometimes it feels easier when you are in that safe space where, like, you're in Woo, where you know people are authentically sharing their experiences. That feels like a safe space. Where you're talking to someone who you know is not going to judge you, that feels like a safe space. So, for me, it's moving myself out of that need for safe space to just speak my truth regardless. But I've just recognized that for me, at times it takes that feeling of being in that safe space to really share my authentic truth.
Yes, I definitely get what you're saying. I mean, and you're right. Well, let me say this. There are people that are reluctant to speak their truth, even in a safe place, right? However, being in a safe place does provide you with that kind of encouragement, right? To speak your truth, because like you said, you don't feel like you're going to be judged or criticized, right? And what do you think has to be in the core for you to even share your truth in a safe space?
Well, I don't know about the. Go ahead. You said to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
What, and people are putting things in the chat, I see that popping up. What has to be present for you in your core for you to even share your truth in a safe space?
Yeah. And Catherine said we need to know the truth before we speak it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking you need to have your voice first. I know for me, I sometimes can't even find my voice and need to work on my throat chakra just to even get it out. And Z said, especially in certain situations, she needs to find this answer, meaning speaking my truth where I know it is not necessarily going to be supported. Catherine said you need love. Laura said trust. Catherine said care and concern. Teresa, vulnerability, courage, feeling safe, healing, and feeling comfortable. So those are some of the things dropping in the chat.
Yeah, all of that. This thing about finding your voice. I remember there was a time in my marriage I said, I actually said this to people. I felt I had a gag in my throat. Like I couldn't even say what was so, right? But that was me I wasn't tapped into who I really am. You know, I wasn't tapped into I wasn't tuned into my spirit. I wasn't listening. I wasn't asking. I'm not blaming myself. I just know that was present. So the trusting, when I say trust, it starts with trusting yourself. Forget the safe space is important, but it starts with trusting yourself. That you trust that what you have to say is important to you and could possibly make a difference for somebody else. But more importantly, it's something that's important to you. You're tuned in to your truth. And there is a level of vulnerability because you don't know if what you say, even in a safe space, you don't know if what you say is going to be taken in the way that you intend. Or not even that, you don't know if people can handle and manage what you have to say sometimes, but it's that vulnerability, that willingness to just share, to get to take to be true to yourself. You're like, you're sitting there and it's sitting with you and it's stirring up in you. And you're like, oh my God, I feel like I have to say that. I got to share something quick. We had a staff meeting at Hunter the other day. And this whole issue around remote work and not remote work, and we get mixed messages. And in a room full of our staff people with the dean and associate dean in the room, I just felt the need to say, this is a bunch of bullshit. I don't typically use profanity in professional settings, but I felt like I had to speak it. And of course, there were other people in the room that were like, Val, I'm so happy you spoke. They saw it as me advocating for them.
Right.
Now, mind you, because I want to still be working for Hunter College, I did have a conversation with the associate dean. I didn't apologize, but I said, you know what? I felt the need. He said, Val, I get it, because it is missed messages that folks are getting. But that was a risk. But I just felt I had to take it. Not encouraging people to do that. For the record, don't do this at home. They say.
I took your advice, Val, and I got fired.
Don't do this at home. Don't say Val said do it.
Right.
Exactly.
I just said I felt compelled.
Yes.
I want to say something to what you just said, Ms. Val, because sometimes you are an advocate for others, and that's the job that you have been given. And I just feel like for myself lately, I'm like Chantel, like I always like have a hole on my throat. But lately I've been speaking up for myself. And I was like, damn, girl, you was something else. I've been shocking my own self because I'm so used to not speaking up for myself and not saying, hey, no, this behavior is not good. I don't like that. I'm not comfortable. And what I used to do years ago, I mean, I can't really do it now, but I would go home and I would eat myself crazy because I did not speak, or either I would start, my head would be hurting, whatever. And I realized is that the more I use my voice and the more I take a risk and say how I feel and not being disrespectful, but like, what they say, I don't know what they're saying, but like whatever, like my words is not to hurt anyone. My words is to bring healing for myself. And so I have to speak, how I feel about something. And if I feel that a person is hurting me, or even not tell other people, if I'm hurting you, tell me. Don't spare my feelings, because if you frustrated with me and you're not telling me you're frustrated with me, how would I know? There's no way for me to know. And I just feel that when we start being vulnerable to speak our truth, then a lot of healing will take place. We won't have much, we have less stomach aches, less headaches, less pains, because we've held our tongue for such a long time that it starts to strangle not just our throat, but our whole body becomes strangled by keeping quiet too much. And I'm complete.
Thank
for
you,
a moment.
Teresa. And once again, it's listening to our bodies, really being tuned into how our way of being is impacting our way of being, impacting us in ways that we sometimes minimize or normalize. So thank you very much for that, Teresa.
Yeah. And we can hear from Catherine in a bit, and then we can come back. But I also want to share that Jazzy said, I just found my voice in this space, and I set up a whole meeting for later today to get my feelings out.
Oh.
Yes. Progress.
Yes,
Love
Jazzy.
it. So happy you got up, Jazzy, for this conversation. See how God source brings us, right? It brings us, and know that this conversation is making a difference for me, because every single one of us is going through something. That's why these conversations are so empowering. They're healing, because all of us are going through something.
Absolutely. Yeah. Catherine, come on, sweetness.
Sweetness.
Grand rising, peace, blessings, love, grace be extended to the community this lovely day. Care and concern is a place that I'd like to come from. Sometimes it gets, don't say that. Care and concern is a place I'd like to come from. That's my aim. And then I check myself with what's my motivation for breaking the silence. Like, right? So we usually have to wake up to eat something, and then they call that breakfast. And so I check myself when I go to open my mouth, because my grandmother told me that every thought that I have need not be spoken. And so I had to learn that. I don't, yeah, I had to learn that the hard way. However, it was an extremely valuable lesson. So for me, checking my motivation for saying what I'm saying, and being who I'm being, in the presence of others, I've come to learn during these events in my life that I am not an island, and everything around me can feed me depending on my perception of it. And that's what I heard this morning, is that, and I wanted to question and propose um, uh, my thoughts. So if I think I have enemies, then there's some actions and reactions that's going to happen. And then the opposite, if I don't believe I have enemies, then I will present myself and respond to things in a different way. And I've come to believe that I don't have any enemies. And that's been working for me as far as pushing forward, as far as going inside to see what I have working inside of me. I just came across something that I wrote a while ago. You know how Facebook send you reminders of what you wrote 5 years ago, as if they really know me. So I had wrote that. Wow, I just forgot what I wrote. Yeah, so it was about introspection. It's like going inside. Thank you, Spirit. It's the very thing that I'm looking for outside of myself is actually inside of me. So I don't need to go outside or seek approval. And that's another thing I'm taking a look at, is why do we, talk to babies the way we talk to babies and encourage them to perform for us? And then they develop this habit of having to go outside of themselves for approval and things to that nature. So it's a lot of things going on. And what I'm finding is that I am not afraid to go inside. I'm not afraid to ask questions. And that's from my beginning. And so because I have questions, then I'm gravitated to the answers. And then the answers present itself with its own challenges as far as being around other people in a nourishing way, in a productive way. So what I will leave with the community before I stop speaking is that yesterday I had an experience with someone in the market. I went to the market and I decided to talk to this couple. And so the man said, I'm feeling some kind of way from what you just said. So I said, what you do with your feelings is your business. And then I kept it moving. He was laughing. He said, oh, wow. I heard him say to his partner, yeah, I think I'm going to use that. And that's what I'm learning, is that I don't have to be engulfed with other people's feelings. If I said something and it created feelings in you, then the truth of the matter is that is your business. Your feelings is your business. What you do with them is your business. It's not my business. And so what I'm finding is, and I'm learning how to mind my business, what it looks like to mind my business, stay in my lane, and grow from that. I don't shy away from hard or challenging conversations. It takes energy to have relationships, and I'm committed to that, whether it be family, friends, associates, whatever label you want to put on another person, another human being. I'm committed that it takes time. But however, the work, the energy, the focus for me is to know who I am. So when I've learned that knowing who I am allows me more patience for other people. If I extend grace to myself, then I have some to extend to you. And with that, I'll stop.
Thank you, sweetness. Well, you said a lot, and I'm going to tune into one thing you said that I wanted to kind of wrap our conversation around. And that is checking your motivations before you say anything. And one of the things that we talked about in part one is tuning into your higher self. I believe that when we tune into our higher self, and we talked about ways that we can do that, our motivations become very clear. So however you check your motivations, that's one way that I do, and that's tune into my higher self. How would my higher self respond to that situation? That has me respond in a way that I believe is a lot more meaningful. All right, well, I know that we're getting close to our time to close. So why don't I close? Let me go back to the slide for 1 second.
Yeah,
sorry.
absolutely. We have 2 more we can cover.
Okay.
Yeah, let's close this out.
Yeah, I'm gonna close. Okay, so I'm gonna go. Actually, interesting enough, we talked about these 2 things. We talked about these 2 things. One is taking a step back to gain perspective, which really ties into what Sweetness just talked about. Stepping back, checking on our motivation, stepping back from a situation. We talked about not taking things personally, right? Stepping back to gain a different perspective. Teresa talked about that. How we perceive a situation is going to impact the way we respond to that. Teresa talked about not, or I think it was Teresa who said, I don't know, maybe it was Sweetness who said, I don't have enemies. Someone had mentioned that I don't have enemies. I disappeared the concept of stranger. Change my perspective on people, right? And then recognizing internal versus external influences. We talked about that as well, right? Adam was the one who raised the whole conversation around approval, external influence versus our internal influences, which are our dream, spirit, heart-centered desires. That's internal. So we want to make sure that we're tuned into that, right? So that the external influences don't have the same impact. Seeking money, seeking prestige, seeking power. Nothing wrong. Is it aligned with who you really are, right? So I don't know whether we have time for feedback or I should just read my poem.
No, we could do some feedback and
Okay.
then close out with the poem. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone want to share? All right.
I just want to thank you for this conversation, Miss Valerie. It was very healing for me. What I realize is that because my mindset is changing, when I'm hearing things, I'm looking at through healing eyes. So that makes a big difference in how I'm receiving. And so thank you so much, and everyone else who, gave their love and healing, through these conversations. And I really appreciate this.
Thank you, Teresa. And I'm going to write that down, looking at life through healing eyes. I love that.
Yeah, because especially when Sweetness said she doesn't have any enemies, that's like, oh shit. That was deep right there.
Deep right there, yeah. How we perceive the world. It makes a difference on how we live our lives.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you, every single one. Thank you on Facebook for sharing your thoughts. Thank you in this Zoom circle for those who contributed greatly. I want to close with one of the poems that I'm going to send you when you email me. I'm going to share, but I'll share this now. This is a poem I wrote some years ago called I Believe. I do not know, but I believe. My faith runs deep. It carries me. Although the fear, the doubt creeps in, I stop, I breathe, connect within, pushing past the barriers that I can't see, tearing down those false images of me, reaching for the change I seek, yearning for a reality that speaks, new truths, new dreams, new possibilities, a newfound joy gently caresses me. I do not know, but I believe our lives can be rich if we choose to receive.
Ashe.
Yeah, so thank you all so much for today. It's made a difference for me. I hope it made a difference for you. And looks like I'll be doing a part 3.
Yes,
And
whether you
possibly,
like it or not. Right.
yes,
Love it.
Yes.
yes.
Let's hear from Jazzy and Catherine and close out from there.
I wanted to thank you guys for this morning. I really enjoyed this. Thank you, Chantel,
You're
for
welcome.
inviting me.
Oh, great.
And
Yes.
thank you to everyone that was vulnerable and speaking their feelings. And, it all was like so great and resonated with me in some sort of way. And like I said, I set up a whole meeting to speak with
Yes.
someone today. Like I found my voice here. And yeah, it was great, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything, the energy. Started my morning off great, and yeah, I love it. Thank you guys so much for this, everyone.
And Jazzy, I just want to say you found your voice a long time ago, and you found it earlier this week when you reached out. You were just sharing, and I said, you know what, we have a conversation coming up on joy, and you sound like you could use some of
Yes,
that, and you accepted the conversation. So God put that in your spirit to just speak up for yourself
Yes.
and bring it to the right person so we can pull you into this community. So thank you for
yeah.
accepting the
Thank
invitation.
you.
Please
Oh my
come
God,
back. We'd
thank you.
love
I
to
don't
have
know.
you.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
yes,
you.
thank you. All right, Catherine.
Yes. Real intentionally. My creed, what makes me move forward, knowing God's grace is sufficient, trusting no good thing will God withhold from me, feeling the healing power of God's love, believing all things work together for good to us who trust the Lord and who are called according to God's purpose. What makes the journey victorious? Understanding my worth, having all my needs met, wanting for nothing, lending, not borrowing. When do you begin to say thank you? Every day, only when necessary, twice a day, after breakfast, before bedtime, and when you don't feel like it. Things not to say. I can't take it anymore. You are killing me. You make me sick. For you shall surely be that which you believe you are. So just for today, which is what I have, I am unique, beautiful, relevant, and generous. Thank you so much for everybody showing up today. Love you.
Thank you so much.
Great.
All these beautiful words to close us out today.
Oh, boy. Feeling it.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Anything else, Val?
Love you all dearly, and am so blessed to have been in this conversation with you. And I feel like I'm elevated. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to be with you again. I will be with you in the future because there's a part 3 and a part 4, I believe. So I look forward to being with you all in the not so distant future. Thank you so much for showing up powerfully.
Beautiful. Thank you for showing up so powerfully for us as well. Right.
So, as I mentioned earlier, my special offer, whoever emails me at valjlyons@gmail.com will get 2 poems that I wrote. I believe is one of them that will uplift and support you. So please email me and I will send these poems to you later on in the day. And you can find me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram at @ValJLyons. I have a Linktree account that has all of my platforms, social media platforms. And my email address is valjlyons@gmail.com. And my website is www.valeriejlyonsenterprises.com. So you can always find me if you'd like to connect. And, feel free to donate, provide love offerings via Zelle or QuickPay at soulleadershipdevelopment@gmail.com. If you have Cash App, you can also provide a donation or love offering at Spirit of a Woman, using the code hashtag 651VL. This is for the administrative staff. A lot of work is going on behind the scenes, and for facilitators as well. So all donations and love offerings are very much appreciated.
Beautiful. Thank you, Valerie. And like Valerie said, if you want, you can contribute to the love offerings that help to keep things moving for WOO and bringing the space to everyone monthly. So we have $25, $50, $75, and $100 a month. If you'd like to contribute that way to make sure that it's always flowing. Remember, money stands for my own natural energy yield. So let's continue to have that grow within the WOO community. Okay, Val, you want to show who's next?
Oh, yes. So join us tomorrow, August 15th. Sam Renee will be facilitating a presentation titled Receive the Signs, Make the Shift. And then on Tuesday, August 16th, join us where Valencia Noel will facilitate a presentation on naughty whole life policies. You'll learn a lot about insurance life policies. So please join us for these two upcoming presentations.
Thank you. And to the newbies, thank you for saying yes to the invitation, to whoever brought you in this morning. Thank you specifically to Jazzy for your participation and jumping right into the community. Welcome home. So please come back to this community where we choose to learn, elevate, and ascend throughout the week, get our day started with each other, get full before we go out into the world. All of this information is also going to be in the chat for you to register and to continue to get reminders that you can join us each morning. And so, especially for the newbies, this is our schedule so that you can come back and join us. We are live on Zoom Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then on Mondays and Wednesdays, we give you a little taste from 7 to 7:30, a quick session just to get your day started. And then we're also live streaming on Facebook. And you can also text us WOO Nation at 74121 to get reminders. And you can always go out into the world and represent WOO by going to bit.ly/WOO swag. Get your bags, your thermos, your coffee cup to get ready for the sessions in the morning, your masks, because we still have to wear those out in these streets. A notebook, whatever it is you need, take a look and we have it for you. And again, thank you to the newbies, the returners, the vets, admin, facilitator, Valerie, thank you so much for coming back and joining us. Please come back for part 3 and 4. We are ready. So register for next week, bit.ly/wake up movement. That's where you can see the lineup for the week. You can go to Facebook. We have a private group, and then we have a WOO page. And so the public page is where you can find those replays. You can catch us on Instagram, YouTube as well. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, if you want to volunteer, you can go and email us at info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. I'm going to take the slides down and unmute everybody so that we can rain some love on you. And thank you so much for this session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was great.
So amazing.
Thank you.
That was powerful.
Wonderful.
Thank you
Here.
so much.
You
It
are
was gonna be wonderful, and it was.
Valerie,
Thank
thank you,
you.
WOO family.
Have a great day,
Love
everybody.
y'all so
Family for the
much.
amazing
So
stuff. Love
amazing.
you guys.
Excellent work. Excellent work.
This was so amazing. Thank
My
y'all.
notes. Looking forward to part
Thank
3.
y'all. Thank y'all for all the love.
Thank you.
Thank you, admin team,
Thank you.
SLC.
Thank
Y'all
Hey,
rocked
dear.
my world today. Y'all rocked my
Hey,
world.
Theodora.
This was so wonderful.
Amelia,
you
good
so
seeing your
much.
face.
Hey,
Awesome.
family. So glad to see y'all. Miss y'all.